Hi everybody. There's been a lot of talk going around about using AR500 steel plate as armor in a plate carrier for personal protection, and the question has come up as to whether or not spall would be an issue. As you know, when a high velocity round hits a piece of steel, it splatters, and that splatter will chew up just about anything that's on the perimeter of that splatter. There's been hypothesis that perhaps if you wrapped a piece of steel in, say, a soft armor vest, that it might provide you with the spall protection for a fraction of the price of standard military or law enforcement grade SAPI plates. So we're going to try this out and see what happens.
I happen to have here, this is a piece of AR500 steel, 3/8 inch thick, that I've been beating on for about 10 years or so. It's seen several, I don't know, tens of thousands of rounds of virtually every caliber you can imagine. As you know, velocity is king, so the deepest pits here are from things like 20 tacticals, 204, those rounds that are just absolutely cooking. 308, 223, 300 Win Mag at any reasonable distance just doesn't do a whole lot to it. Now, by comparison, I've got a hunk of AR500 steel, same stuff, 3/8 inch thick, that came from the same sheet that my mini IPSC target here was cut for, and I have it comfortably nestled inside of a ADI 22 long rifle rated set of soft armor. The velocity limit on this is supposed to be 450 meters per second. This is old. Presumably you wouldn't be using a brand spanking new vest on a project like this anyway. This has a manufacture date of 1994. So I'm going to wrap this up nice and neat in some movers plastic in order to keep it all nice and tightly bundled together as it would be inside of a plate carrier. And then we're going to take some shots at it. I'll first shoot it from the back here where I have this, where I've got an opening to simulate just straight on penetration. And we'll open it up and check out the spalling around the edges to see if it looks like it might provide any sort of a lethal threat to you, particularly obviously on the outside. And then just for grins, we'll flip it around and shoot it through the vest. We'll be shooting it with PMC bronze ammunition out of a 16-inch barreled AR-15, and I'll also be shooting it with some Federal Gold Medal Match 308 out of a Remington 700 LTR. It has a 20-inch barrel on it. So we'll go out in the desert, we'll get this set up, and we'll see what happens, see if we can put this to rest. Alright folks, we've got this target saran wrap, for lack of a better word, to my mini IPSC hanging from this target stand. Now, just to show you what spalling will do, take a look at all the pitting on the legs of this target stand. You'll see what kind of damage spalling will do, and that's from a height of about 5 feet, and that's again with all sorts of rounds from 223 to 308. So I'm going to mount this camera and shoot this from point blank range right there in the center, and we're going to see what happens. Alright, this is one shot of PMC bronze right to the center of mass here. In 3, 2. Alright, let's unwrap it and see what happens. You can see a bit of spalling coming through the saran wrap splatter back from the point of impact. but that was unprotected by vest. So it will be interesting to see what happened at the edges. I can see fragmentation, powdered bullet all over the place here. Alright, we got some nice marking right here, some splashback. You can see where my impact point was, right there in the center. And take a look at what it did to the wings of this vest. Pretty much blew that thing apart. Around the edges, however, the edges of the plate, just a whole bunch of really fine lead splatter. But around the edges here, there's really nothing to speak of. So that's very interesting. So the worry that an impact straight on would splatter and go up towards the operator's face or head might very well be busted here. We're going to wrap this thing back up, and given that, I think that that coming back out from the point of impact, you're probably going to see some splatter. Most of it was caught, even those places where it shredded the vest. You'll notice that it never penetrated to the far side. It looks like it just kind of shredded the plastic housing, plastic cover of this vest. So I'm going to flip this guy around and shoot it from the other side, point blank with our 308, and we'll see what that does. So far, it's looking pretty good as a viable option for preventing splatter to the operator. It looks like most of that splashback would go away from the target. Alright folks, this is shot number 2 on the armored side from approximately 10 feet with a 168 grain federal gold medal match. In 3, 2, 1. Alright, we're unwrapping after the 308. Point of impact. It's a little high as center because of my sight offset and the fact that I got a 6.5 hour scope on that thing, minimum. Alright, we do have a little bit of penetration here out the top. I don't know if you can see this. Right here at the top, we do have a little bit of protrusion. Looks like a few pieces splattered out. Maybe one on the side here. Point of entry. Alright. See what it looks like from the inside. Alright. Obviously my splatter pattern, a lot of energy transfer, but hardly anything to the plate. I can barely feel that. I can feel the velocity of that PMC bronze, that 223, you can just tell is moving a lot faster. But there's less energy being imparted there than here. And I think that is borne out by the damage to the vest. However, you will notice that at the perimeter, at the edges of these folds, there's really not a whole lot. It looks like it just pretty much peeled back this plastic cover. One, two, couple of layers of Kevlar. But other than that, this thing survived really well. And very little spall damage outside of that point. You can just see all this lead powder. All this lead powder right here in the grooves. Now obviously this is something of a worst case scenario, being hit at point blank range. You can see on the bottom edge where the fold was. Took a little bit of damage, but so what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I don't really have a professional opinion because I'm not a professional. I am fairly impressed with how well it held up. I wouldn't want to be hit with a 50 cal with it, but with a 308 or a 223, I think one could be fairly confident that you're not going to suffer a whole lot of damage from that spall if it's wrapped up in a vest like that. Now these things are ridiculously heavy, assuming that the ones that are sold out on the market are also 3/8 inch AR500 steel. It's a lot of weight to be carrying around. But then again, I've also never carried around standard ceramic safety plates or anything of the kind. So take this experiment for what it's worth, and hopefully that will shed a little bit of light on the feasibility of using a 22 caliber vest as a spall protectant for these steel plates.